Hello students, let us continue with the second chapter, Introduction to DBMS. In our today's session, we will going to learn about the data types in DBMS, Introduction to RDBMS and basic database concept. Data types in DBMS. When we create a table or add a field to a table in the database, fields are created with specific data types. My dear students, when we try to create a database, first of all, we have to create a table under a database. And when we start to create a table, first of all, we have to just consider some fields. Through those fields, we are going to add records in your database. So while creating fields, we have to just consider some data types. That means what type of information we are going to add in our fields. So here we have to just consider some data types available in DBMS. Data types are special classification that identify possible values for an operation that can be done on the data, as well as the way data in that field is stored in the database. That means depends on the information or depends on the what type of data you are going to add under a table, that depends on that data types are decided. Let us take one example. Now this is what an example of student database, where I am going to create first table containing information about the students, personal information about the students. Okay, to add such information, I am going to consider some fields like roll number, student name, address, phone number, date of birth, fees paid. Okay, through these fields, I am going to add records of a particular students. Now just consider when I said a field as a roll number. So I am going to add strictly all the numbers under this roll number. So here I have to consider a number as a data types for this roll number field. Okay, now consider second field as a student name. I know I am going to add all the characters under this student name. So I have to consider data types for these fields as character or text. Here second field is address. So my dear student, again this address, under the address you are going to add characters only. So I will consider the data types for this address as again a text. Now phone number. Under the phone number field, you are going to add strictly all the numbers. Okay, so maybe this phone number I will consider as a numeric or number. Next field is a DOB, stands for date of birth. My dear students, in this field, under this field, strictly you are going to add a date only. So the data type for this DOB you have to consider as a date. Okay, now next is fees paid is a field. Okay, here I am going to add some numbers. Maybe that number is integer or maybe that number is decimal. Okay, maybe some you are going to add some fees amount with the decimal. So here I will consider this fees paid as a number only, but again in a number, numeric or number data types, there are two types, whether the entries or data you are going to add as an integer or a decimal. So here I will consider as a decimal as a data type. Okay, so in your DBMS there are given some data types available in your DBMS and RDBMS. We'll see the data types, how many data types are available in the DBMS. Here are the list of data types given in your book, data types in DBMS. See what type of information you are going to add. According to that information or according to that record or according to that data, your data types are available. Now if you are going to add a text, for example, if your field name is name of the students, then address of the students, then comments. So such is the field in your data table. Then naturally you are going to add a text, but again your text is divided into two types. Okay, you can say data type as a char or varchar. So varchar means variable characters. Okay, so variable length means what? The length of your string or length of your field is not fixed. For example, a name of the students or address where the number of characters are not fixed. So I will just say address or name of the students having a data type as varchar. Okay, so now what is char? When the fields entry like status, then result, whatever, where the number of characters are fixed. Okay, over there I can declare the field data type as char. Okay, see the explanation. Char holds a fixed length of string. What is a string? A group of characters. Means जिस field में आपको ऐसी इंफॉर्मेशन डालनी है, ऐसा डेटा डालना है कि जहाँ पे नंबर ऑफ लेटर्स और नंबर ऑफ करेक्टर्स आर फिक्स्ड. 4 characters, 5 characters, 3 characters, but the characters are fixed. That time I can declare the data type of that particular field as char. Okay, so holds a fixed length string can contain letters, numbers and a special characters. The fixed size is specified in the parenthesis. Okay, so when you just think that data must be of 4 characters, so how you will add char, and in a parenthesis you have to just mention the number of characters which you want to accept from the user. So strictly your database will accept that much character from the user. So first type of data may be a text. Text may be a char or varchar. Char means what? Fixed number of characters, and varchar means what? Where the characters were not fixed. Okay, holds a variable length string, can contain letters, number and special characters. The maximum size is specified in the parenthesis. Okay, so here again you can maintain. Suppose you want to give the 20 characters for the name of the students or 30 characters, then you can mention where more than 30 user can add. Okay, so or 50 characters width if you want to add, or 50 maximum 50 characters if you one can add in that field. So that limitations you can add over here. So char and varchar, these data types are used to enter a text. Next data type is given as a decimal and integer. Okay, so next you have to just consider the numeric entry or numbers. So number may be decimal or int, that depends on the entry, that depends on the field. If I am just I will consider about the roll number. So no roll number field must have a integer value only. Okay, वहाँ पे आप decimal नहीं डालोगे. So I will consider roll number of data type of roll number as int. Int stands for integer. Integer means whole number. It is used for storing integer values. Okay, तो जैसे एग्जांपल मैंने आपको दिया रोल नंबर, फोन नंबर. ओके, जहाँ पे आप स्ट्रिक्टली इंटीजर वैल्यू ही एक्सेप्ट करोगे, ओवर देयर यू हैव टू जस्ट डिक्लेयर डेटा टाइप एज इंट. नाउ व्हाट अबाउट डेसिमल? फॉर एग्जांपल है फीस पेड, लेट फीस, टोटल फीस. सपोज इस तरह से आपका कोई फील्ड है वेयर maybe the value is having decimal number, then you have to declare the data type of that field as a decimal. Okay, date and next is time. Now suppose date type of entry is somewhere like हमने देखा date of birth is given in your student database, so you have to declare date as a data type for the date of birth field. Okay, so strictly your database will accept the entry in a date format only. It holds the date including day, month and year. Okay, so format वहाँ पे user can't enter any other things from date. Strictly your database will accept the date only. Like that, somewhere suppose you want to accept the time from the user. or you are creating a time field in your database, then the data type of that time field must be a time. It holds time in the format HH, MM and SS. So in this format you have to add your entry. Okay, so my dear students, under the DBMS, when we are going to create a table, and while creating table you have to consider some fields. Okay, through those fields you are going to add your data. So उस fields का data types declare करना ज़रूरी होता है. So according to the data types only your database will accept the records. Okay, so this thing is clear, data types in DBMS. Now we'll take one example so it will be more clear to you. Now the example is about a student database. Now I am creating a database for the student. Okay, just I am thinking to store information about the student. So what type of information must be there? So first of all hoga personal information. Okay, details about the each students of my class. Okay, so I will create one table to add the information from your catalog, like roll number होता है, student name है, address है, phone number may be there, date of birth may be there, Aadhaar card number may be there, then your other information may be there from caste है, फिर your categories and all. So that all information I am just maintaining with the help of table 1. So I have to just consider all the fields over here कि कौन सी information आपको डालनी है and which type of fields you are going to add. Okay, while creating these fields you have to just consider the data type. So roll number के लिए data types कौन सी होगी? So naturally you are going to add all the numbers. So it must be a integer. Then here you are going to add a text. Here you are going to add again a text. But these all may be a variable length. आपकी लेंथ जो है वो फिक्स नहीं होगी. सो आई विल कंसिडर एज अ varchar. फ़ोन नंबर में आइदर यू कैन कंसिडर फ़ोन नंबर एज अ char and tenth or numbers or integers. So strictly integers you have to add in this. Date of birth you will consider a data type as a date and so on. Now this way I am creating a first table. The next table in the same database, as you know कि database is a collection of different tables. So उसी तरह से मैं एक और table बनाऊंगी जो table के अंदर I am going to add all the records related with the first unit test. Okay, so while keeping or while maintaining the records from first UT, I have to consider first of all roll number. Okay, second name of English subject, then IT subject, physics, chemistry, biology, then maths, all other subjects, and at the last you will get a total and result. So maybe this type of fields you will have. Okay, so here in the result field I will consider as a char 4 because either pass or fail may be the entry. Then in a bio, chemistry, physics, these all subjects marks you have to add. So I will consider maybe the marks is in a decimal value. So I will consider all decimals. But roll number is again integer. So second table जिसमें मैं unit test के marks डाल रही हूँ, maybe you will have such type of fields. Now again one more table I am going to add which stores all the records for the second unit test. Okay, so maybe the structure is like this. Okay, so one more table, so many tables you can create under a database which carries all the information related with the student only. Now look at one more thing here. What is this key field? What is this key field? Key field in sense what? Key in suppose this is what the example of first table. Just consider this roll number. So this roll number I can consider as a key field or a primary key of my table. Why primary key? Because this roll number is unique. जितने भी suppose 80 students के records है तो all 80 students will have different roll number. Repetition नहीं होगा. So that's why it's called as a key field or primary key or unique key in my table. So I will consider this roll number is a primary key of my table. Okay, the same roll number I am using in the second table also. So this over in the second table also this roll number is a primary key. In the third table again this roll number I am using because everywhere the roll number is same. So I can create a relation between all these tables and I can get the information about one particular roll number from all the table. At the last, suppose I want to create a result from this database. So result बनाने के लिए मुझे जो information लगेगी first unit, second unit, first term, second terms, all that table information or all that data I can search and get through the roll number, because ये roll number हर एक table के अंदर होगा और हर एक table को link करने के लिए roll number I am going to use. Okay, so I think so student database किस तरह से होगा, what will be the tables, how many tables we can create, and what are the fields of any tables. One more thing I have to just share with you, while writing the field name, look at over here my dear students, student underscore name I am giving. The rule is what, you don't have to add a space between the fields. Okay, your field name must start with a character. आप one number ऐसे कोई भी number से आप कोई भी field start नहीं कर सकते. So always your field name must start with a character. No space is allowed. So here I can use underscore as a special characters. So you can just add a student underscore name as a field. So underscore, this character is allowed from your keyboard. 4 underscore name. So no space is allowed. You can't write roll space number. Okay, so this is what the rules you have to follow while creating the fields. Now we'll move further. Now as I told you, structure of a database or structure of your table. Okay, so my dear students, very first step for creating a database is what? जैसे आपने database बनाया, you have to just consider about the number of tables. कि how many tables you are going to create under your database. Suppose you are just thinking to create first table. While creating first table, you have to just consider the structure of that table. Structure of that table means what? Field name and the type of that particular field. Okay, so field name, whatever the fields, what all information you are going to add in your table 1, and what will be the data type of those fields. So in a table 1, as we just see, in a table 1 the fields were roll number, student name, address, date of birth and fees paid. तो उसका स्ट्रक्चर आपको पहले कैसे करना है, तो यहाँ पे डेटा टाइप्स आपको डिसाइड करना है. सो रोल नंबर कौन सा होगा, स्ट्रिक्टली इट विल बी अ इंटीजर. सो आई विल से राइट INT. Okay, stands for an integer type of data. Student name, naturally the length is not fixed, so I will consider as a varchar. Okay, how to just read it, varchar. Address, again I will consider as a varchar because the number of characters are not fixed. Date of birth, strictly I want a date to be entered, so मैं यहाँ पे declare किया date. फीस पेड होगा, मे बी अ डेसिमल, बिकॉज वहाँ पे डेसिमल वैल्यू आ सकती है. सो दिस इज व्हाट द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द टेबल 1, वेयर आई एम गोइंग टू मेंशन द फील्ड नेम एंड डेटा टाइप ऑफ दैट फील्ड. नेक्स्ट इज टेबल 2, जो कि आपको पूरी फर्स्ट यूनिट टेस्ट की इंफॉर्मेशन में ऐड करनी है. सो अगेन यू हैव टू जस्ट फर्स्ट कंसिडर कि टेबल 2 के अंदर हाउ मेनी फील्ड्स आई एम गोइंग टू ऐड. So just go on writing all the fields and you have to mention the data types for those fields. So roll number int होगा. इंग्लिश के आप जो मार्क्स डाल रहे हो उसमें शायद आपको डेसिमल वैल्यूज मिल सकती हैं. सो यहाँ पे मैंने डिक्लेयर किया डेसिमल. IT is one of the subjects, maybe it's a data type is decimal, and so on. Total है, all other subjects, and at the last you are giving the result. So result में you are declaring as a varchar because pass or failure to add. You can just say char also because the length is fixed. Okay, so that depends. You can declare as a varchar or char. Take the third table to store the data related with the second unit test. So again you have to consider all the related fields, subject of all the 6 subjects, marks, and then roll number. See here in this table 2 and table 3, you are not adding name. No need, because name is there in the table 1. So if I want to know the name of any particular roll number, I have to just refer the table 1. So my dear students, for to calculate the result out of this, then at the last, if I want to manage or calculate or create a mark sheet from this data table, you have to just create a relationship between these all tables. So that is possible in RDBMS, where one key must be common in every table. जैसे यहाँ पे रोल नंबर है, वो इंडेक्स की है, इसमें भी है, इसमें भी है और इसमें भी है, जो कि हर एक में कॉमन है. सो विद द हेल्प ऑफ रोल नंबर you can create a link between the tables and get the information or data from the particular table. Okay, so our next topic is, before the next topic, one example is given in your textbook, where two columns are given, column number A, column A and column B. Under the column A, field names were given. So these fields name are related with the bus reservation. Okay, and you have to just give the data type for a particular field. So suppose passenger name is a field, so naturally the field data types must be a varchar. Suppose age is one of the field, तो age का data types क्या हो सकता है, int ही होगा. Okay, you can't say decimal, so integer value ही you are going to add. So I will declare data type for age as int. Next field may be a gender. So gender में यहाँ पे मेल होगा या फीमेल होगा. So you are just consider a char and in a bracket length. Okay, कि number of characters कितने maximum आप डालोगे. Mobile number, or you can you can care varchar, that depends कि how you are going to add the entry. Mobile number, maybe mobile number is strictly your numbers, so I will say int. It's not a decimal value, so I will declare as a int. Int stands for integer. So such type of questions may expect in your exam also. So this question is from your textbook exercise from chapter number 2. Now we'll move to the next topic, which is RDBMS. Okay, RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Okay, in RDBMS, a database is considered as a collection of interrelated data. As in a last example, where we just see 3 or 4 tables you are managing in one database, and all the tables are related with the student only, and in all the tables roll number is a common key over there. So over there you can create a relationship between the tables and get the desired information. So that type of facility is there, but all the data, all the tables must have a records with the related entity or subject. So that's why this RDBMS is nothing but the collection of records, but all the records must be, or all the data must be interrelated. Okay, so through RDBMS we can create a relationship between the tables and get the desired information. Now next is basic data type concept. While working with the DBMS or RDBMS software, we must know some meaning of some of the terms. Like we now, up till now, we know okay, what's a table. Okay, so table है, field है. We'll see one by one. First is table. Okay, so table is a basic data storage. Through that only we can store a records in a database. Okay, so look at this explanation. The table is a basic data storage unit in a relational database. Okay, so while creating a database, we can store records with the help of table only. Table consists of rows and columns. Okay, अभी हमने देखा example में कि table में rows and column के through ही we can store the records. Okay, a database consists of one or more tables according to which data is stored in a table. Okay, so in your database may you have more than one table. जैसे अभी example हमने student database में देखा. So table is a basic storage unit in a database. Next is field. We all aware with the field. Okay, what is field? A table consists of information which is stored under the different headings called as field. तो टेबल के अंदर जो कॉलम आप बनाते हो उसमें जो भी नाम लिखते हो और कॉलम हेडिंग जिसको हम बोलते हैं दैट इज नथिंग बट अ फील्ड, ओके, और कॉलम. Columns are shown vertically in the table. Okay, each field or column has an individual name. Two columns cannot have the same name. So while creating a structure, दो field के name same नहीं हो सकते. Okay, so fields are nothing but with the help of fields you are going to store the data under the table. Next is record. So again we know कि what is a record. All the columns in a table makes a row. Okay, one particular row from your table is called as a record. Okay, so each row contains information on individual topics. Okay, a record is composed of fields and contain all data about one particular person, company or item in a database. So one single record is a, you can say, row is called as a record. It also called as a tuple. The record is also called as a tuple. Okay, you have to just keep remember. You have to remember this theme also for the record. Now something called as a key. Again we just discuss about the key field. Okay, so what is, there are two types of key in your database, my dear students. Maybe a primary key or maybe a foreign key. A column or a combinations of column which can be used to identify one or more rows in a table is called a key of the table. Okay, so key of the table means what? Which is uniquely to maintain in your database. So primary keys and foreign key. What is the difference between primary key and foreign key? So primary key, the group of one or more column used to uniquely identify each row of a relation is called as a primary key. So primary key is nothing but the unique key in your database. Okay, the field which you are managing, the entry which we are managing, so that is where the entries are unique. Okay, for example, a roll number, account number, okay, employee number, item number, customer number. So these all type of fields, when you enter in your database, those fields are called as a primary key, or because the keys are same, because the fields entry are same. Foreign key, it is a field in one table that refers to the primary key in another field. That means when you create a relationship between the tables, this foreign key is a field in one table that refers to the primary key in another table. So my dear student, this foreign key you need in the case of relationship. So that relationship we'll see in the next lecture. But here the basic terms given under the database where first is table, field, record, key. Key may be a primary key and or a foreign key. To just understand more about the key, primary and foreign key, we'll take one example. In this example it's shown key what are fields. So here these all are the fields. Okay, then record is one complete row is called a record. Okay, this blue highlighted line, this complete field is called as a complete row is called as a record. And what is a key field? Primary key. So here roll number is a primary key or key field because which is a unique in your database. Next is to know more about the primary key and foreign key. We will take one example. Here you are managing three different tables. Okay, one table is a purchase table to add all the details about a purchase. Second table you are managing for the customer, and third customer table to know or to add information about the customer, and third table you are managing for the product details, the product which you are having. Okay, so purchase table के अंदर what all fields you are managing? Transaction ID, customer ID, product ID and purchase date. Okay, so here you are going to add all the day-to-day transactions. Okay, so for a day-to-day transactions you are managing some number, तो इसको क्या बोलेंगे, transaction ID. Okay, when the order comes for any customer, so you have to add a customer ID over there. तो उस कस्टमर आईडी का आप एक कोई आईडी बनाओगे, नंबर दोगे, सो यू आर मैनेजिंग दैट एज अ कस्टमर आईडी. नेक्स्ट इज प्रोडक्ट आईडी. विच टाइप ऑफ प्रोडक्ट यू आर गोइंग टू परचेज, सो in your database you are managing that product details with the product ID, because through product ID just go in the product table and get the information. Okay, so that's why in your main table you are just adding a product ID. And next is purchase date. So like that so many fields were there. Okay, look at this. In this table your transaction ID through is a primary key क्योंकि ये यूनिक होगा. ठीक है, और कस्टमर आईडी एंड प्रोडक्ट आईडी वाई यू आर मैनेजिंग, because through customer ID I can create a relationship between the purchase table and the customer table. Customer ID के through I will just search in this table and get the information about the customer name and address of the customer. तो customer की information I am managing in a different table, और हर एक कस्टमर को मैंने यहाँ पे आईडी दिया है और उसी आईडी को मैंने परचेस टेबल के अंदर स्टोर किया है. सो व्हेन customer ID is a primary key over here and product ID again is a primary key and a product table. So product ID के through I can get the information about the particular product. So both the key which are the primary key in another table I am using in my main table, and that's why these two keys are called as a foreign key. समझ में आया? So primary, why you are calling transaction ID as a primary key, because this is what the main field which I am managing uniquely in my database. So I will consider this transaction ID as a primary key in my purchase table, main table. उसी के अंदर I am just going to manage two more fields like customer ID and product ID. So these may be the primary key from another table. So why I am managing here, because customer ID जैसे ही मैंने यहाँ पे सर्च किया हर एक कस्टमर का डिटेल्स मुझे इस टेबल में से मिलता है. सो इन दिस टेबल कस्टमर ID इज़ अ प्राइमरी की, और इसी को मैं यहाँ पे यूज़ करूँ, दैट्स वाई इट्स अ फॉरेन की फॉर माई परचेस टेबल. So this way the concept is primary key and foreign key. So by this example I think so it's clear about the primary key and foreign key and what are the key fields, what are tables, what are fields and what is row. Okay, so thank you all.